Alright guys, Tedco here back again today. Hope you're enjoying your Friday so far and looking forward to the weekend. Another weekend day in lockdown here in the UK. But today I wanted to talk about the Seattle Surge. Yesterday the CODcast came out with Nameless, Pac-Man and Clayster. Really interesting discussion surrounding Joey Nubsy that we'll go into possibly tomorrow, and coaches more generally in the CDL, but also Panda on the Seattle Surge. His role in the team right now, and how Clayster and Nameless especially thinks that he should not be in the starting lineup and Enable should be brought back into the squad. Of course, benched earlier on this season. We talked yesterday about the OpTic gaming team, potentially Enable, like where exactly does he fit right now in the CDL? Seems difficult, as Clayster says in the clip that I'll go into in a few minutes time here, that, you know, bringing Enable back into the starting lineup now surely isn't going to work in terms of chemistry, so maybe OpTic gaming is a potential route. However though, as you see on screen right here from Cronut's CDL Intel, seems like JCap has been spotted not in the starting lineup and Chino is there instead. Interesting situation. A few of you guys in yesterday's video talking about Chino potentially coming into the starting lineup. Maybe that will work. It's interesting to see what roles exactly this team will run, because typically Chino been more of an AR player. Kenny, Slasher, Dashy, you know, not ideal in my opinion, I would say, in terms of role dynamics right now. But, you know, Enable, Pristini, possibly players that could be considered if they can sort contract situations out. But like, if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new. As always, I would greatly appreciate it. And let's hop into this clip then first of all. So this was the CODcast. Named Zeus and Pac-Man, as I said. A link to this will be down in the description box below. Really interesting podcast. I haven't got the chance to listen to the whole of it yet, but the part I have listened to, pretty interesting stuff. So wanted to share a couple of minutes of video clip right here. Don't know what's going on with the graphic to the background, but of Clayster and Nameless especially talking about Panda and you know, why they don't think he should be in the lineup.
Understand what they're doing on that team, like
yeah,
why,
what are they doing?
Like Pandur should not be playing, and I like the guy. I like Casey, but like the performances he put up this weekend and against us, dude. Like if they had Enable, they're beating us.
Yes,
like,
on that Gunrunner Dom.
But most time players don't say that kind of shit about other people on other teams. Like he just should not be playing.
Wait, no, for real though. On that Gunrunner Dom, like they have Enable, or like just in general, like dude, Pandur.
And I'm not even coming at him. I think Pandur's really good. Okay. I actually do. But like he performs consistently at a level underneath the player they dropped, and that's the point I'm making.
Let me play devil's advocate. So they pick Ian back up. Do they ever win a search?
I mean, do they ever win a search right now?
They won a couple.
No. Do they ever win a search? Like,
all right, they're the underdog in search now. If they play Ian, we played search with Ian. He averages like 3 kills a search for like the last.
Bro, listen, all I'm saying is you're not getting a big enough jump in search and destroy from Pandur to where like having him over Enable makes sense. Like Enable's gonna make your team better at respawn. It's just I just don't understand it at all. Like I honestly never got clarification as to like the true reasoning why they dropped him. Like
yeah, and him saying like there was like the ultimatum, like if they bring him back now, the team is broken. Like you can't bring him back now. I think it was a premature benching is what I think it was. And I think that if they're going to give anybody a shot, they probably should have given Proto a shot. You know, Proto has been playing on the fringe for a long time. I mean, that's my personal opinion, you know?
Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm not sure.
I also think Enable has a lot of like, he brings a lot to a team other than just search or whatever he does or objective. I think Ian's actually like a well-rounded player when a lot of people aren't. And so like, obviously I don't know the team dynamic. Yeah, I don't know the team dynamic and stuff, so I can't speak 100%. It's just if my teammate was putting up numbers like that consistently, I'd be super worried, you know?
So let's just clarify Clayster's opinion here before we hop into, I suppose, fact-checking this argument that he makes. So Clayster says, thank you for giving this context and me saying he actually is good, just was dealt a bad hand with his position on the team. And as he says here on Reddit, I want to clarify this because it sounded like I was coming at Panda/Joey's neck, but my intention was really to pose the question when a coach is going to be held accountable, etc., etc. I also went on to say, and we'll talk about that tomorrow, probably, I have no idea the inner workings of the team, and Ian, that's Enable, could have a massive massive problem chemistry-wise or something. So pure speculation, conjecture. Talked to Nubsy a little bit last night. Don't disrespect to him as a coach. Didn't want to feel like I'm harping on Panda. That's Casey for good reason. I do think Casey's a good player, just in a bad spot right now. And after showing the performances he has, it's simply stats to show he's performing lower than Enable. Now, I'm not sure this is actually fully true, but this is just to clarify Clayster's opinion before we hop into things right here. So, This, of course, is the series that sticks in most people's mind this weekend. That's the semi-final of Surge versus Atlanta FaZe, where Panda just had a horrible series. Like, map number 1, it was tragic. They do win a Search and Destroy, but they lose all the respawns. Panda has a 0.48 KD. Lower kills in the entire series than Simp got in map number 1 as a cave where he dropped the 50 bomb, right? So, yeah, incredible. Obviously, an awful series from Panda, but people have series like this, right? Clayster knows himself, going 4 in 22 back in the day, or was it Strongholds, CTF or something like that back in the Black Ops 3 days. People have bad maps, people have bad series. That's not to say that Panda is like an absolute world-class, best, like, top 5 player of all time. He just happened to have a bad series. I don't think he's at that level, but at the end of the day, sometimes you have bad series, right? That kind of is what it is. But this is what sticks in most people's minds right now. And as Casey said in reply to this, so 26th of April, he says, feel like I've been improving series to series and scrim by scrim. Feels good. And then after that series, he says, this backfired, huh? And Enable then, of course, the only player to really respond to this one, says, series like that happen, bro. Don't sweat it, right? But what I wanted to look at right here, this is Lion Man's card he put up this weekend, excluding Panda from it. Obviously this caused a little bit of controversy within the community. Why is Panda not getting his cards? Is it because his card was so bad that they didn't even want to put it on there? Did Seattle Surge say, like, yeah, I'd prefer if you didn't post that? Who knows, right? But, you know, some of the replies to this are kind of interesting. Panda then says, I dropped a 0.85. My family didn't die. You could have put my card up there, brother. So, yeah, interesting situation. So these are the stats from so far this season then. And, you know, Enable only played the first couple of events. I think he played Minnesota and then the London event. And after that, they moved him to the bench. At the time, Enable said that, well, he'd been dropped. He wasn't really putting in the grind as much as he could have done on other teams and has done in the past. And he felt like, maybe the drop was fair enough. But at the same time, he then said there was some sort of ultimatum that he implied that potentially Octane, who's good friends with Panda, I think Joey Nubsy, the coach, is as well. But, you know, rumors has it is Octane, said that, look, if Enable isn't dropped off the team, I'm going to bench myself. So they dropped Enable, or they benched him at least. Panda came into the starting lineup, and they've been playing with him ever since. But in terms of statistics, I'm not sure it's as clear-cut as Clayster is trying to suggest, right? He has a 0.87 overall KD to Enable the first couple of events. Panda's here with a 0.9. Not much difference. At the same time, this may be dragged down to some degree by Enable's generally pretty lackluster Search and Destroy. But it must be said that their Search and Destroy does seem to be somewhat better, right? Like Nameless was saying in that clip that, are they really any better at Search now? But to be fair, they did win a couple of round 11s. They're winning some more Search and Destroys than they did with Enable in the team. One interesting thing to consider, though, which I think Enable has been maybe spouting as an option, is to bring Teddy Rex, right, who's a substitute on the squad, and they're like S&D analyst type of player, bring him in potentially in the Search and Destroys. We haven't seen any team use that yet this season as an opportunity. The fact that you can make mid-series substitutions, I believe, is an option right now, as it is in the Overwatch League. So, very possible, Enable comes in for the respawns, and then they decide, like, in the Search and Destroys, we're going to bring Teddy Rex in and have more of a, S&D focused squad. Enable's never been the best Search player, right? Let's not beat around the bush on that one. That is an option for this team. Apparently Enable's been talking about that as a possibility. But Clayster coming out and saying that, like, Panda's just underperforming the level Enable was at, I don't think that's particularly clear. However, as he does go on to say, Enable obviously has more out-of-the-box, I suppose, attributes that can help the team in terms of chemistry and these kind of things. Winning championships in the past multiple times, multiple different games, and also, multiple different, like, franchises, I suppose, Halo, Call of Duty, etc. He's done it a long time in multiple FPSs, right? So, you got to respect Enable's career, but in terms of individual performance, I'm not sure he's necessarily been better than Panda has since he joined the team, but there are other aspects to consider as well, which I think makes probably Enable a more valuable player on this team than Panda is right now. But, having said that, who knows whether they would still be a better team. Then again, I think Enable was dropped too early. I think it's difficult to argue otherwise. He only got a couple of events in with the team, and then they've brought Panda in ever since then. I don't think this was necessarily the right move, but then again, what move do you possibly take going forward? So I did want to look through some of Panda's replies here. So, am I tripping? My only actual bad series that I can recall was when I was shooting through people, and I took that one on the chin and didn't make an excuse, but I've been getting bashed consistently by quite literally everyone, when other than that, I've done relatively well. I'm not going to sit here and feed anything else and keep defending myself, but sheesh, the whole community talking to me like I'm going 0.5 every series. I played the event champions in Minnesota 3 times, and now I've done relatively well every single time. Throw me a bone. I get that, Ian, that's Enable as fans and friends, that's why I don't lose Phil every time people tweet me dumb stuff, but the past few days have been out of pocket for sure, and the only person who has given me any credit or the benefit of the doubt is Ian, that's Enable. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. And Nubsy replies, you're doing a good job, Panda. You know that. Everyone that says different doesn't know a single thing about what you bring to the team or has any evidence other than the points for 8 to actually back up their claims, which is super concerning given their position. But, you know, having said all of that, the team is not in a good spot, right? Like, let's say Enable isn't necessarily a much better fit than Panda, at least for this specific squad. As I say, I do think he deserved more time with the team. And as I said at the time, I don't think Panda is the change on this team that makes them a championship contender. I don't really think many players thought that. But as Clayster says, he's obviously a good player. Octane speaks highly of his praises, right? But then again, Seattle Surge haven't looked significantly better. They have looked somewhat better, I think, the Chicago home series. They looked somewhat improved. But then again, you know, they lose to FaZe, they lose to Dallas Empire. Those were the top 2 teams at the event at the end of the day. They did have some closer series against them, but really they can only beat LAG right now, it seems, as they've done so only, you know, it's the only team they've beaten this entire season. Definitely somewhat improved from their, you know, performances several weeks ago. I still don't think they're a championship contending squad by any means, which does beg the question, what is the option here for this squad? Enable's currently on the bench. As Clayster says, is it really an option to bring him back into the starting lineup? Doesn't seem so for me. If you bring him back, there's almost no chance it works in terms of chemistry. He clearly feels frustrated. The podcast he did with Nameless and Pac-Man a while ago, he was saying that, look, it doesn't seem like they want me on the team. I'd probably, you know, I'm quite happy to go to a different squad if someone else wants to pick me up, right? And if that's the case, it's probably not going to work in terms of chemistry. So that's why I talked about the options with OpTic Gaming, potentially getting a guy like Enable. In terms of chemistry, that might work much better. But if you're Seattle Surge, what do you do right now? So this is a funny tweet from Merk. A few people were tweeting this out. Enable has been a great player on a top 2 team the last 2 years. His outfits cost 40 grand. He runs it up. He has 1 thumb. If you guys didn't know he has 1 thumb, it actually is true. I think he lost it in, I don't know, did he like slam it in a door or something? I forget exactly what the accident was when he was a kid. Get this man a spot. So this is the overall stats. Just wanted to have a look at once again here as we discuss the possibilities with this roster. I did talk before, and of course now having repeated poor performances, I suppose you give this squad one more event. Given the fact that they played Dallas and Atlanta, they lost relatively close series. Wasn't exactly a whitewash, but at the same time, it wasn't like they were super competitive with Atlanta or Dallas Empire. Then again, those were the top 2 teams at the event. Possible that Seattle could be performing right now at a top 6, top 5 team type level, losing to those 2 teams. So maybe you say, okay, look, we'll give this Seattle team one more spin of things and just see how it goes. And if it doesn't work, then we're going to have to consider making changes here. I don't think realistically you can bring Enable back in. I'm sure there are some teams right now looking at him as a very potential substitute opportunity to come into their squads. And is Panda the one you try and switch out here? It's tough to say, right? Like, I just don't think it's as clear-cut as Clayster says that Panda just isn't performing to the level. He may not be performing to the level we would like to see, but wasn't able necessarily performing better. It's difficult to argue that. Then again, do you swap Panda or Slacked? That might be a lot of people's questions. In my opinion, Apathy, Karma, and Octane really have to stay, especially given that you cannot make multiple changes with teams right now. You could argue that Slacked should stay over Karma. That is a realistic option also. But Octane and Apathy, I think, given their performances so far this season, you can't really say otherwise. So it comes down to this support player role. In an ideal world, you have an absolute cracked out SMG player that's going to give you so much map pressure. Really, you just want a player like Priester, right? Like, he is the ideal player. I swear, you can bring Priester into any team and he's going to do a good job on your role. But unfortunately, he's locked up on the Atlanta FaZe. So what are your guys' thoughts in the comment section below? Intrigued to hear them. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.